One of your Deadspin posts that has stuck with me over the years, that it had nothing to do with sports. It's just humanizing and relatable. I think it touched on a level of posting regret that is more common than most people realize outside of their own experience. It's titled "My Roger Ebert Story." It's about your hero. It's from 2010 when he was post surgeries and getting all the flowers he deserved. Would you mind telling that story for anyone who missed it?
Yeah, so Roger Ebert was not only my hero in growing up, and one of the main reasons I went to the University of Illinois, because I grew up in, as I said, a town called Mattoon, Illinois, which is about an hour south of Champaign, and he was from Urbana. And I remember watching one of these, like, in the movies was Ebert. I remember watching him on like WAND Decatur, Illinois television, which of course his show was syndicated across the country. I was like, wait, this guy is just smart. He wasn't necessarily telegenic, but he's smart, he's funny, and he gets to be on television talking about whatever he thinks. Whatever this guy's doing, and he got the hell out of Central Illinois. So I really wanted to be Roger Ebert very badly. So I was like, what did he do? He's studying journalism. Right, I'm gonna go study journalism in Illinois. So I kind of followed him there. Ebert was, even at the height of his popularity, loved the Daily Illini. He loved the student newspaper. He credited it, like frankly I do, to almost anything that happened to him afterwards. His work ethic, his love of the business, love of writing. And so he would come back every year and meet with all of the students, and meet with the students of the Daily Illini. I was a film critic. I was the most prominent name in the paper because I wrote constantly. So we got to know each other, and he became my mentor. And he actually helped set me up with some writing gigs in the Chicago area. And he gave me tips, and he was wonderful. He was all I could have possibly asked to have done. But, I moved to New York about 7 years later. I would move to New York, and, this was in the .com age, and we were all kind of like, old media, screw you, old media. We are ready to take over. I act like I had like a spiked collar and a leather jacket or something. I still had like a center part and a Cardinals hat. But nevertheless, it was kind of just like kill your idols sort of time. Like the new media is here. So he had written, I felt, and I think, I wouldn't necessarily, I came by the opinion, honestly, even if I think I was wrong, but it felt like he was doing more concentration on television stuff than his writing, which for me was the reason Ebert was so great in the first place. And so I wrote a piece saying, I'm sick of Roger Ebert's fat effing face. And it was meant to be funny. It was not meant to say he's fat and he's stupid. But the idea of it was, I'd like him to get back to writing. And of course, the headline was that. And it got on Jim Romanesco's Media News, which was this very well-read blog, and it got everywhere. And so Ebert saw it. I had not talked to him in a couple of years by that point. He saw it and sent me just the sweetest possible notes that you could possibly send to someone. Just said that they were sick of your fat effing face. And I always thought about it, and I always felt bad about it. But then at a certain level, we didn't really stay in touch, because why would he stay in touch with the guy that did that? And so meanwhile, in between that time, Deadspin came, and my career started to kind of get going, and I had a little bit more renown, and we kind of reconnected and got to know each other a little bit. And so then after he had his illness and had his surgery and been on Oprah, and everyone was kind of finally doing that, I finally kind of fessed up and wrote the My Roger Ebert Story piece. And it was about Ebert's forgiveness, but really in a lot of ways is about the things that we write when we are young, that we believe in our youth, the fervidness of youth, and the intensity and the certainty that we are right. And as you get older, you realize, oh, I know now why I was doing that. and kind of like talking about that idea and fessing up to a pretty shitty thing that I did. And Ebert was very forgiving with that too, and always very wonderful. And I hear a lot about that piece, because I think a lot of people can relate to that, particularly as we get older on the web, and we have these long histories with the web. The idea of things that we were certain we were right on when we were 23, when we are approaching middle age, we look back to those things and think, what a jerk I was. I had no idea what I was talking about. And I try to remember that, not only to remember that people when they're young say a lot of things they don't mean, or will some days look back on and regret, but also there's a purity to their thought. There's a purity of it. Like now there are things that I think that I'm like, okay, I'm approaching middle age. This is not a smart thing to say. It doesn't benefit me to say this. I'm going to hurt someone's feelings. There's a truth and a purity of when you were young that I do feel like that older people should also have respect for, even if we're like idiot, you're going to totally regret that in 15 years. And I think there's value in that. And I try to kind of capture that in the piece.
Yeah, you definitely did. I mean, I have stuff from 15 months ago I regret, let alone 15 years ago.
I have stuff from this morning. Yeah, there's no question. But when I sent it, I was certain that I was right. Exactly. So I have no doubt that will.
It's a sign of maturity, Will.